I think the real difference that sets us apart from other war movies is its willingness to show loss.
It's right on that cusp of right before there'd been a whole revolution against war.
It speaks a lot about the horrors of war and everything, but it also is about bravery in the face of the enemy and, the importance of that as well, of when you're fighting for your country.
I hate to be a spoiler man,
Yeah.
but it's only him at the end. Hi, I'm Flynn Camino.
And I'm Fletcher Camino.
Welcome to Bombs Away.
The movie we'll be reviewing today is called The Train. It's a 1964 war film directed by John Frankenheimer and starring Burt Lancaster, Paul Scofield, and Jean Moreau. I'm just trying to sound French. But there's no point because I don't sound French. It's a very good film that we watched recently. Very obscure, surprisingly. Very obscure film, although I can't imagine why, because I think this film should be remembered by everyone.
It's a very good film. And it's the only reason we discovered it is because Fletcher was watching, as he does, all the background behind-the-scenes information of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Who wouldn't?
And he heard that the whistle sound came from this movie.
Yes.
So he did the only natural thing, dug out the movie, watched the entire thing.
Yes.
And
with you.
With me. And
but you enjoyed it.
It was a good film.
You enjoyed it.
It was a very good film.
Let's briefly explain the plot, and it's very difficult because it's a bit of a complex one. So basically, there's this German guy. The Germans have seized France. They seized Paris, and there's a German commander who has seized all the art galleries, and he's making sure all the art is protected.
Good villain.
But then basically he decides to take it off the train, and the French people aren't happy with that. So the French resistance hires this guy Paul Lebiche, who's portrayed by Lancaster, to basically steal them. So it's like a heist film.
But Burt Lancaster doesn't even try
But
it.
it's not like any other heist film you've ever seen.
I'm just a bit disappointed that Burt Lancaster didn't even put on a French accent.
I don't think he's meant to be French. I think he's supposed to be an American fighting in France. Although they didn't acknowledge that either. It doesn't matter. He's an awesome action hero. Even he's getting on quite a bit here. So anyway, that's enough stalling.
That's enough stalling.
So we'll just do our normal thing of just positives, negatives, and then we'll wrap it up in a neat little bow. So, let's get started.
I'm not quite sure where to start with positives with this movie because there's a hell of a lot. Let me tell you now. I suppose we usually start with the cast, so let's start with them.
Yeah.
But
Lancaster did a great job.
He's brilliant.
Despite his lack of being French, he did a great job at just the action hero portion.
Oh, yeah.
But also as a secret agent, basically. Just, lying, and sort of manipulating, but also just really being good.
He's like this guy who's very unassuming, and I think that this is the amazing thing about Burt Lancaster. The characters he played so well in his sort of later career, I suppose you could say, is these characters who seem to be very ordinary and whatever, but they're incredibly cunning and calculating. This is the thing, he started off as an acrobat turned actor, and I think in his earlier career he wasn't very good. But by this point, in 1964, he's
very good.
He's really good. He's really mastered his acting abilities, and he's just doing excellent here. I mean, I can only compare him to Tom Cruise in this. I mean, he's just like, his character is very much a guy who just never stops. Nothing can stop him. He just keeps going and going until he gets what he wants.
And
it's amazing.
He's only rivaled by the rest of the cast, which does an equally good job.
Yeah.
The villain is very, very good, very, very villainous.
Oh, yeah.
And
Paul Scofield. It's not like a caricature, and usually for films of this time, it would be tempted to portray Nazis as big over-the-top accents and, stupid sort of stuff.
What did you feed them?
The same thing we feed the prisoners.
You fed that to the dogs?
Yeah, why?
You stupid!
He plays it very naturalistic and very, very grounded. And everyone else was very naturalistic. Like, it felt like a sort of a, I don't know, I don't want to say French New Wave, maybe Italian sort of neo-realism type actors. Just very, very naturalistic. It didn't feel like they were actors at all. Just like very, very naturalistic sort of acting. Very, very grounded, very, very subtle. I thought, and and everyone in this movie was just very, very subtle performances. There's not actually a whole lot of dialogue, I would say.
Yeah, well, it was very good. It was very good. The train stunts were very impressive as well. I mean, no visual effects back then. They
cannot believe the train stunts.
Just crashed trains into trains, explosives and bombs, and
Honestly,
bang, boom,
it's
bong.
amazing. There's this thing where there's this train, and then another one comes on. It's an out of control train. No one's driving it. And it just smashes this massive explosion, and then another train comes in and explodes. And this is all for real. But I'm not sure if they were models. They didn't look like models, because I think there are people running around. These are real trains that are being crashed. No visual effects. This is 1964, and the budget must have been huge, because there's just massive explosions. It feels like a movie that was made in the 80s and 90s, just massive explosions and massive action, even though, it's this film... I think I'll go into a bit of a deeper analysis later on, but I really think this film in so many ways is decades ahead of its time.
It really is one thing after another, and just trying to basically to steal the train. But they're inside agents. They've fought for years to get to where they are as
deep
inside
undercover,
agents,
yes.
deep undercover, and they don't want to spoil their positions or get shot.
The whole film, I think, is a piece on what is the value of art compared to human lives, I think, and it is really excellently executed in just, it's sort of as an action movie and as a thriller, it's a war film on its exterior, but, it's got that message as well of, what is this art worth? So, it's our national identity.
They're worse than Picasso's.
Is that what they're worse than Picasso's? But is that worth, risking your life for? What's it really worth? And, well, that wasn't the message, Flynn. I think we were meant to ponder that, not just say no. But any other positives before we go deep?
Well, I thought we already were deep, but I thought it was just a very interesting film in scale, but at the same time a very small scale with acting and the characters having a lot of focus on them. Let us dive deep.
Shall we really?
Do we do negatives?
I think I think I feel wrong to be doing the stuff that we're going to be saying in the negative. So let's just get it out of the way now. It is very dark and very grounded, and it feels extremely accurate to what would have happened.
But this is right in that time where it was the mid-60s. There's starting to be a big social revolution. I mean, all of that peace.
And I don't think you mean the Beatles.
No, I don't mean the Beatles.
Ed, I'm going mad.
It's right on that cusp of after the war had sort of subsided, but right before there'd been a whole revolution against war.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's an anti-war film either. It's very much in a similar vein to 1917, I would actually say, because it is saying it speaks a lot about the horrors of war and everything, but it also is about bravery in the face of the enemy and, the importance of that as well of when you're fighting for your country. But I think the real difference that sets us apart from other war movies is that its willingness to show loss and and make it very, very heavy, Instead of what most movies tend to do, especially movies like this, is that they tend to not build the characters too much so we won't feel too sad when they die. They don't do that in this. They make you really invested in the character and really likable because they're all doing the right things and they're all being very brave, and then they kill them. And that's very real because that was how it was. It was like, you would have friends and, allies and family even who...
I hate to be a spoiler man.
Yeah.
But it's only him at the end.
All the way through the movie, it's just... all of the characters are systematically getting killed, and it's just getting darker and darker until it's at the end, and it's so awesome because it's just him against the Nazis, and that's when it's full-on action, and it's just one man against the odds, and it's just so awesome and so cool, and so, it's really, really badass.
Dynamite.
But it's also, very, very... extremely moving because these people have been laying down their lives. When you watch it, you're very aware of what's being said. You're very aware of what the filmmakers were trying to say. But you're also very aware of the reality, because I think that it is the reality. It's probably one of the most realistic war movies I've ever seen, because it's very bleak, but it's also has hope, and it has people doing brave things. It's very, very powerful. And, it's an extremely good movie in that respect, but also it's just a great action movie as well. So I highly, highly recommend this movie. And anyway, we've ranted a hell of a lot about this.
Yep.
I've ranted a hell of a lot about this. Shall we move on to the negatives? Have you got any negatives?
I'm glad you asked that. Because I thought there were too many trains.
Well, after that harsh criticism, I think we'll wrap up. I think we'll wrap up the video now. But I think this, at least from me, this film has a very, very highly recommend it. I think it's must watch.
It's very underrated as a film, and I definitely recommend going.
I can't believe I've never heard of it before.
But you know what else is underrated?
Our channel.
Well, I was going to say pressing that like button.
That's true.
And
it is a very
hitting that
underrated
bell.
experience. There's a certain rush you get when hitting the like button.
Hit the like, whoo, and you hit the subscribe, whoo, and then you hit the bell, ding.
Yes, it's just such a wonderful feeling.
And if you do every single one of those, you are
a very, very happy person.
And even happier.
Even more. That's true. Even more so if you leave a comment down below, letting us know.
Tell you.
Have you thought of? Have you watched The Train? What did you think of it? You know, share your thoughts in the comment. Open a conversation there. Also, tell us other films you're interested in. Other war films that you think are very, very moving.
Other Burt Lancaster films.
Oh yes, Burt Lancaster and other films maybe in a similar sort of vein that you've watched. Or ones you'd like to see us review because you're not quite sure about watching them yet. So, you know, we'll take the plunge for you if you absolutely want. But yes, we highly recommend this movie. And until next time, I'm Fletcher Camino.
And I'm Flynn Camino. And thank you for watching Bombs Away.